Hi guys, this will be my second video on this channel. The first one was blockchain motivation and this video is a continuation of that video. If you have not watched that video, please go and watch it. In the last video, we have discussed about blockchain motivation, in which I have given you an example how blockchain is improving our day-to-day life. In continuation to that, I will be giving one more example today related to blockchain application, so that you can get a more clarity why blockchain is so much in hype these days. So example will be buying and selling of a property. Okay. Let's consider there is two parties. One is Alice and another one is Bob. Alice has a property in Mumbai. Let's say she has a 1 acre property in Mumbai and the Kolaba area. And Bob is a potential buyer who is willing to buy this property from Alice. Let's say 50 crore rupees. So Alice will be the seller and Bob will be the buyer. Now, how in traditional way these types of transaction takes place? What will happen is that Bob is going to buy a property from Alice. In that case, Bob needs some documents for the property that yes the property belongs to Alice. What Bob will be doing is that Bob will be asking Alice for the sales deed. Now sales deed is a term which we use for the contract. Basically it is a contract on the stamp paper which has details like that this property was sold to Alice in this year. She is the owner of the property in which he has bought this property, and her details will be mentioned in this sales deed. So this is a government approved document which we can use for the verification purpose that someone has bought a property and that property belongs to him or her. So the thing is that now this needs to provide that the sales deed to Bob, so that Bob can verify yes the property belongs to Alice. Now there is an issue. So for this to happen, now Alice needs to be physically present to show this document to Bob. There are two things. Physical presence is required of Alice, and the original hard copy of the sales deed is required for the transaction to take place, and Bob to believe that yes, the Alice is the correct owner. Now this is one thing. But the problem in this is that yes, Alice has shown the sales deed that she has bought this property and in 2000. Okay, now from 2000 to 2024, there are so many years passed. Maybe what has happened, Alice has sold this property in between. Let's say in 2005, Alice has sold this property. Now that information is nowhere mentioned, because in the sales deed the year in which Alice has bought property from someone else is mentioned. Now if she has already sold this property, that detail is nowhere mentioned. Now what will happen is that now when Bob is creating a contract or a sales deed with Alice, Bob will give his 50 crores to Alice. Now Bob goes to the government for the agreement of the sales deed. Bob will came to know that this property was already sold and he got scammed, and Alice can run away with his 50 crore. This is a problem. In traditional way or in the real life scenario, what is happening is that all these kinds selling deals happen based on the trust. Two parties trust each other, and in this way these transaction takes place in real life. Now the thing is that is there any digital way you can think of so we can reduce this issue which we have discussed previously? The thing is that there is maybe you can come up with an example like Maharashtra government is maintaining a web portal over where they are listing sales of all the properties with the sales deed. Now if Bob wants to verify that this was some property which he's trying to buy from Alice, he can go to that website here and he can go to 2000 tier, because it will be present in serial order. He can go to 2000 tier and he can see that yes, the sales deed is present and this property belongs to Alice. Now what Maharashtra government can do is that they can incorporate a feature in their website, like Bob can run some script or something in their web portal and check that after 2000 this property has not been sold to anyone else. So in this way Bob can be 100% sure that the property which he's buying from Alice is 100% genuine and Alice is the original owner of the property. Now everything is looking correct. Now Bob is satisfied that yes, this property belongs to Alice, but there can be two potential issues in this approach approach as well. What if Alice is a hacker and she hacks the Rashtra government website portal in which the properties are listed, and she has maliciously added her name and details and a fake seal deed in that website? Although the chances of this is also very less, it will be near to impossible in real life, but there are chances considering this case. So another thing can be maybe this is very rich. What she did is that to get 50 crores from Bob, he has hired someone from this government, the person who is maintaining this government portal, maybe server admin who maintains the website, and she has asked to add her name in the website. So these can be two things that can happen. If I list them down, is first one is that Alice is a hacker and she has added a name. The other point is that maybe she has bribed someone to do the same. This can be two potential issues. Okay, now, as we have discussed in the previous lecture, that to avoid these kind of issues, there we can use blockchain in place of the normal website. Now, what are the advantages of blockchain that I will tell you? Two main advantages, as I told you before. Number one is the tamper-proof nature of blockchain. So any transaction which is made in the blockchain is tamper-proof. They cannot be modified, they cannot be removed, they cannot be changed. Once the transaction is done, it will be permanent and it will remain the blockchain till eternity. This is one thing. Another thing is the blockchain is append only. So a new transaction can only be added. The old transaction cannot be deleted anyhow. By these two properties, we can incorporate in the old website portal I saw before is that we can build trust in that website, so that anybody can blindly trust that the portal and the information which is available in this portal is 100% genuine and there is no loophole or no flaws in that website. Ideally, how this whole scenario will be working is that we have a blockchain. Basically, blockchain is something like a data structure. Blockchain has its genesis block, which is basically the first block of the blockchain, and we call it a genesis block. And after genesis block, we have blocks added to it accordingly in the serial order. Now let's say government is maintaining a blockchain of all the properties, and they are adding the properties in the blocks according to the year. Let's say for 2000 year they have a block, for 2001 year they have a block, and until 2024 they are having a block for each of the years. Now this is basically the blockchain which Maharashtra government is maintaining, and they have created a portal as well to read this blockchain. What will happen is that Bob will go to this website, this Maharashtra government website. He will go to the 2000 year block and he will search for the Alice name, and he will get the details of the property of which is belonging to Alice. He will get the sales deed present over there. Now once Bob has got the sales deed, he will be sure that yes, the property belongs to Alice. Now one issue is solved. Another issue was that maybe Alice has sold this property later on. As I've told you, the blockchain is tamper-proof, and we can query blockchain. Query means we can query the database. Similarly, we can query the blockchain and we can get the data. We can query the blockchain that have Alice sold this property to someone else. In this way, we can get the clear picture that whether or not Alice has sold this property in the coming years. Till 2024, this property still belongs to Alice or not. Once Bob is clear with that as well, Bob will be 100% sure that yes, Alice is the true owner of the property and he can go forward and do a deal with her. This whole scenario looks very perfect from Bob's perspective, but what about Alice? How will Alice trust that Bob has 50 crore rupees and he will not run once Alice transfers the property to Bob? The thing is that how will the whole transaction, this buying and selling transaction will take place is that Alice will sell the property to Bob. The next step will be Alice will create a sales deed, which is basically a government recognized paper document in which all the details are mentioned, as who has sold this property, who has bought this property. So this will be step 2, and the step 3 will be Bob giving 50 crore to Alice in the exchange of property. This will be a 3-step deal. Now the thing is that if Alice performs step 1 and 2 perfectly, she sells the property to Bob and she created the sales deed. Now the sales deed is created. This will be added to the blockchain in the upcoming block which will be mined. This property deal and sales deal is added to the blockchain and it will become permanent. Now what if Bob runs after step 2? The property is on Bob's name and he has not given 50 crore and he ran away. So the property belongs to Bob and 50 crore also belongs to Bob, and now Alice got scammed. Now this can be a possibility, but how can we stop this? Let's say you can say that maybe Bob can transfer 50 crore first, and then Alice can do her step. Maybe the thing will be step 3 will come first, Bob giving 50 crores to Alice, and after that step 1 and 2 will come, Alice transferring the property to Bob and Alice creating a sales deed, mentioning the details the property has been sold to Bob. Firstly third step, then 1 and 2. This can be the order. But now the thing is that now what if Alice scams Bob? She takes in the step 3, what will be doing first is that Bob will be transferring 50 crores to Alice. Now what if Alice runs away with this 50 crore and she doesn't perform her step 1 and 2, which will be basically transferring the property to Bob and creating a sales deed? What if she doesn't perform these steps and she ran away with 50 crore? Now the whole scenario is that we have two solutions, and neither of the solution is perfect. Each of the solution is beneficial for the other one, but beneficial for both of them together. This is the whole issue. Now how can this be solved? This can also be solved using blockchain, because in blockchain there is a facility in which we can do atomic transactions. Now what are atomic transactions? This is a science term, maybe you have heard it before. Atomic transaction means all or none, either all the transaction will happen or nothing will happen. That means all the transactions meant from Bob to Alice and getting the property transferred from Alice to Bob, this should happen in one step. All the steps that we have discussed in the previous sample should happen in one go, known as atomic transaction, and by using blockchain it is possible. How it is possible we will see in the next lecture. But to give you a little glimpse of this thing, I can tell you what happens in blockchain. So what happens is that there will be a smart contract. Smart contract is, you can think of it as a regular code which you code in the computer. So this smart contract will be designed in such a way, it will have two if conditions. So if Bob transfer money to Alice, and if Alice signs sales deed and gives the property to Bob, the whole transaction will be succeeded in one step. Okay, so, and this one transaction will be recorded in the blockchain. So in this way the whole issue can be resolved. Now neither Alice can run away with Bob's money, and neither Bob can run away with Alice property, because both the steps will be done in the one go. This is the whole essence of the blockchain, and that's why I am trying to make you understand that blockchain is so important. It is solving a lot of real life issues which we are not able to solve with the traditional ways, and it will be removing a lot of middlemen as well, because if you are aware that in any of the sales deal and all, there are a lot of middlemen that take their commission for doing the transactions and all. By using blockchain, these all middlemen can also be removed. That is the essence of blockchain. In this lecture, that's it. We have discussed up till now 2 examples of blockchain, and what give you enough motivation about blockchain. In our next lecture, we will be studying something about blockchain more, which is basically decentralization. What is decentralization? We will be studying this in the next lecture. Then thank you and have a nice day, and we will meet in the next video. Thank you.